I used to wonder why the path in front of me was always empty, why no footsteps matched mine, why every time I turned my head, the world felt 2 steps behind. But then I realized something they still haven't learned. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's a privilege reserved for those who don't need permission to rise. People fear walking alone because they hate hearing their own thoughts. They drown in noise, in attention, in the comfort of crowds who pretend to care. But I'm not like them. I don't need a pack to feel powerful. I don't need applause to stay alive. I don't need company to remember who I am. I walk alone because the path I chose isn't wide enough for the weak. They look at me from a distance and whisper, "He isolates himself. Something must be wrong with him." But the truth is far simpler. I isolate myself because nothing slows a man more than carrying people who refuse to move. While they were searching for hands to hold, I was sharpening the only hand that mattered, my own. While they begged for validation, I learned to validate myself in silence so deep it could carve bone. Every moment of solitude became a weapon. Every hour alone became another layer of armor. When you walk alone long enough, something strange happens. You stop fearing the emptiness and start commanding it. Silence becomes a companion. Darkness becomes a trainer. Pain becomes a translator that teaches you exactly who you are when no one is watching. That's why I win. Not because I'm stronger, not because I'm blessed, but because I'm willing to go where others refuse to step into the parts of myself they'd rather ignore. You can't lose someone who walks alone. You can't break someone who relies on no one. You can't destroy a man who has already learned that everything he needs is everything he already carries within him. I walk alone, not because I'm empty, but because I'm full of purpose, full of clarity, full of the fire that only solitude can ignite. They gather in groups to feel safe. I move in silence to become dangerous. You see, the world taught them to chase approval, but the shadows taught me a different lesson. When you stop seeking company, you start finding direction. And direction is worth more than friendship, more than praise, more than comfort. Direction is the one thing cowards never find because they're too busy following someone else. I don't follow. I don't wait. I don't beg. I walk alone. Because every time I did, I returned stronger, clearer, deadlier. I walk alone. And that's exactly why I win. The truth they'll never admit is this. Most people can't walk alone because solitude exposes everything they've buried. Their fears, their guilt, their weakness, their addictions to attention, noise, validation. They cling to crowds because the silence terrifies them. But I learned to breathe inside that silence. I learned to move through it like smoke slipping between broken walls. The world taught them to depend on each other. The darkness taught me to depend on discipline. While they were chasing comfort, I was chasing clarity. They don't realize clarity is born only in isolation. In those nights where it's just you, your thoughts, and the cold truth that no one is coming to save you. That's the night most people break. That's the night I woke up. When you walk alone long enough, the world starts revealing its real face. The masks fall off. The actors disappear. The people who claim loyalty vanish the moment you stop serving their needs. It's brutal, but it's honest. And that honesty forges something unbreakable inside you. A man who walks alone learns to identify false friends faster than footsteps behind him. He learns the weight of every intention. He learns the difference between company and attachment, between silence and abandonment, between loneliness and evolution. I didn't lose people. I learned who never deserved a place beside me. Every goodbye was a lesson. Every betrayal was a sharpening stone. Every empty room was a battlefield where I faced the only enemy that truly matters. The one inside my own ribs. Once you defeat that enemy, no one outside can touch you. You see, people train their bodies. I trained my instincts. People strengthen their voices. I strengthened my silence, and silence is a terrifying thing. It reveals intentions. It amplifies truth. It strips away illusions until all that's left is the raw, unfiltered version of yourself. That version of me, the one built alone, is the reason I win. Because when you learn to walk alone, you learn to stop depending on applause. You stop needing witnesses. You stop begging for recognition. Winners don't need crowds. Crowds need winners. And the moment I understood that, my path became clear. Not easier, not softer, but unmistakably mine. I walk alone so I can hear what others ignore. I walk alone so I can see what others miss. I walk alone so I can move faster, strike cleaner, rise higher. A man walking alone is a man walking without chains, without expectations, without dead weight dragging behind him. And when the world finally sees what I've become, they'll think I had help. They'll think I had support. They'll think someone pushed me. But the truth is simple. I carried myself through every darkness they ran from. And that's why, when the moment comes, I don't stumble, I don't hesitate, I don't break. I walk alone, and for that very reason, I win. They'll say I'm cold now, that I've distanced myself, that I don't show up the way I used to. And they're right, because I finally realized something they never wanted me to see. I was pouring the best parts of myself into people who would have left me empty. I was giving loyalty to rooms that went silent the second I needed a voice. I was breaking myself into pieces to keep everyone else whole. Walking alone wasn't my first choice. It was my only escape. The day I took that first step by myself, I thought I was losing everything. But step by step, the noise faded. The expectations dissolved. The weight lifted. And for the first time, I could hear something I'd been drowning out for years, my own war drum. The rhythm of my heartbeat started sounding less like survival and more like a march. You see, when you finally accept that most people were only there for the benefits, the comfort, the convenience of you, you stop grieving their absence and start celebrating your freedom. So yes, I walk alone now. Not because I hate people, but because I love my peace more than their chaos. I love my purpose more than their approval. I love my future more than their opinions. Alone is where I stopped explaining myself. Alone is where I stopped apologizing for my intensity. Alone is where I stopped shrinking my fire to keep others from burning. Alone is where I transformed from someone they used into someone they can't reach. They still cling to each other in circles of comfort, holding hands while they sink, tying themselves to anchors, calling it loyalty, drowning together, calling it friendship. I chose a different ending. I cut the ropes. I let the ship go down without me. I swam alone in waters they were too afraid to enter, and I built my own shore out of the wreckage. When I stand there now, wind in my chest, scars on my hands, silence at my back, they call it arrogance. It isn't arrogance, it's awareness. Awareness that I paid for this version of me with every lonely night, every unanswered call, every time I had to be my own rescue. You don't get to call me arrogant if you never stayed when I was broken. You don't get to judge my distance if you were never willing to bleed with me. So no, I don't crave their presence anymore. I don't sit and wish for someone to walk beside me. If someone can keep up, good. If not, this road was never meant for them. I walk alone, and on this path, I don't drag anyone, and I don't wait for anyone.